जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं जगद्गुरुं वन्दे परमहंसाख्यं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतं। जीवन्मुक्तिप्रदं देवं क्षमापूर्णं जगद्गुरुं वन्दे परमहंसाख्यं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। आनन्दानुभवास्वादं सर्वरोगनिवारकं वन्दे पापविनाशक्तं नित्यानन्दाय स्वागतम्। नित्यमुक्तं निर्विकल्पं ಧ್ಯಾನಲೋಕಪ್ರದೀಪಕಂ.
ಪರಮಹಂಸ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದರು ನಮ್ಮ ಯುಗದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಭೂತಪೂರ್ವ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಸಮಾಜದ ಆಂದೋಲನದ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪಕರು. ಆಧುನಿಕ ವೈದಿಕ ನವೋದಯದ ಪ್ರಥಮ ಅನ್ವೇಷಕ. ಪವಿತ್ರ ಊರಾದ ತಿರುವಣ್ಣಾಮಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಜನ್ಮ ತಾಳಿದ ಒಬ್ಬ ಯೋಗಿ. ಕೆಚ್ಚೆದೆಯ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಸಂಶೋಧಕ. ದೈವಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶಕ ಜ್ಯೋತಿ. ಪರಮಹಂಸ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದರು ಇಂದು ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ರಹಸ್ಯಾರ್ಥ ಯೋಗ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನದ ಪಥದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ನಿಪುಣರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿದಾಯಕರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆಯ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನದ ಸಂಶೋಧನಾಕಾರ, ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ತೋರುವ ಗುರುಗಳು. ಅವರ ವಿವೇಕದ ಸಂಪತ್ತು, ಅವರ ನಗುವಿನ ಆ ಸಂತಸ ಹಾಗೂ ಅವರ ಅದ್ವಿತೀಯ ದೀಕ್ಷೆಯ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿ ವರ್ಷ ಪರಮಹಂಸ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದರು ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಾದ್ಯಂತ ಸುಮಾರು 1 ಕೋಟಿ ಜನರೊಡನೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಪರಮಹಂಸ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದರು ಜೀವನ್ಮುಕ್ತಿಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಆನಂದಮಯ ಜೀವನಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತನಾಡಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮರೆಯಲಾರದ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಅನುಭವವನ್ನು ಕೈಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಸರ್ವಧರ್ಮ ಪ್ರಣೇತಾರಂ ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದರೂಪಿಣಂ ವಂದೇ ಸನಾತನಂ ಪುಣ್ಯಂ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದಾಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತಂ. ವೇದ ವೇದಾಂತ ಸಂವೇದ್ಯಂ ದೇವದೇವಿ.
Stable family and joint family concept. I always feel with a stable family and joint families, you have less suffering, less depression, more energy. But to be a stable family and a joint family, you need so much of understanding and intelligence of God. It's almost like you need a group of enlightened beings. It's a huge effort. Arjuna is giving his predictions. To whom? Krishna. That is the most funny thing. See, if he is talking all this to anybody else, all of them will make meaning and Arjuna would have become author of Gita. Only thing, unfortunately, Arjuna is talking all these things to Krishna. See, all these things are amazing dharma. The logic with which he is putting, the words with which he is putting, unimaginable. With the destruction of the dynasty, the age-old family traditions die, and virtue having been lost, vice overtakes the entire race. Yes, everybody will agree. Especially joint family. It does so much for the inner growth. I checked, tested, scanned all types of lifestyles. So from my research, for a common man, the best lifestyle will be joint families. Either blood-related joint families, like all brothers living together. Like India, we had this system. If a father has 5 sons, all the 5 sons, even after the marriage, will live as a large joint family. So this is one type. Or ideological joint families. All of you feel connected, vibrant with certain ideology, certain concept, and all of you gather and live together. Of course, in the modern day, I think ideological joint families are not possible. So human beings are not matured to live as ideological joint families. So at least blood-based, blood-related joint families. As a promoter of joint families or stable family system, I do understand what Arjuna is trying to tell. But to whom he is trying to tell is the funny thing. And not only that, now his predictions are not going to solve the problem. So many things we need to understand. First, his concerns are out of unconsciousness. He is not conscious of what he is talking. Second, his reasonings are from engrams, not from understanding. Even if it looks like a right reason, if it is from engram, if it is not from right reasoning, you are in soup. Girl gets married, goes for honeymoon. After a week, mother calls her and asks, "How did your honeymoon go?" She said, "Fantastic, extraordinary, unimaginable." But when we were driving back after the honeymoon, we had a fight. Now I decided to leave him. Please come and take me. She said, "What are you talking? Just now marriage was over. You are talking about separation." "No, what happened?" She started crying. She said, "He started using all 4-letter words which I never heard." Mother said, "Tell me, what did he tell?" No, I can't even tell all that now. You come and take me." She said, "No, I need to understand what kind of 4-letter words he used, which has hurt you so much." She was still sobbing and she said, "Mother, words like a wash, iron, cook, dust. He wants me to do all this." She doesn't know what she is talking. I can say Arjuna is exactly in that position. It is not that his logic is not convinced about the war. He does not feel the power to execute. When he does not have a power, he should tell the exact problem as it is to Krishna. But he doesn't want to accept, he doesn't have courage or power to go into this war. He brings all perverted logical reasons. If he goes to Krishna and says, "I feel powerless, please just do what needs to be done," then the whole history would have been different. Feeling powerless, but using the perverted logic, that is where the whole problem starts. He says, the age-old family traditions die, and virtue having been lost, vice overtakes the entire race. As if the war is not going to happen, the vice is not taken over entire race. He only said, people like Duryodhana, evil-minded. Just in the first few sutras, he says, evil-minded Duryodhana. It means what? He already feels the whole race is taken over by the vice. VIC. He already feels wrong people are ruling. Then, how come suddenly he says, after the war, the vice may take over the entire race? He is just completely imbalanced. He is searching for some reason. He is just searching. Rich man had the habit of growing alligators as his pet in his backyard. Slowly he developed large number in a huge lake. One day he was throwing a party All his friends gathered. They were all enjoying a drink and food. Suddenly he announced, anybody who has the courage to jump into this lake and swim and crash, comes out. I'll give either $1 billion or my daughter in marriage. There was a silence. Suddenly, big splash sound. They saw one young man swimming really for life. Running for life. But this is swimming for life. Finally, he manages to get out. He only lost his shirt. He comes out, looks around this side and that side. The owner, the host, goes near him with a lot of pride. He says, I appreciate your extraordinary courage. Now choose, you want $1 billion or my daughter? The guy says, listen, I don't want your money, nor do I want your daughter. I want the person who pushed me into that water. He is searching for something else. Arjuna is also not finding the right reason. He really only wants the fellow who pushed him into this soup, into this mess. But he does not understand he himself pushed him. It is the identity which he started showing to his family, which he slowly started believing as he is responsible for the whole mess he created. See, if he did not show too much of courage and too much of valor to his family, Draupadi would not have thought about him too much, and she would not have taken that vow. I will not tie my hair without killing these fellows. She would have known, oh, I am an ordinary person and I am a wife of an ordinary people. So let me live a normal life. Let me not go and try to fight with these Duryodhanas. Arjuna showed certain identity about himself to his family, and slowly he started believing that as himself. It started building. Out of the identity Arjuna was showing, the whole family has started making decisions. So all the decisions they made, trusting Arjuna's identity, which he was projecting, but which he was not. He is responsible now for the mess they are in. So it is Arjuna who is responsible. Nobody pushed him. Arjuna jumped in. Now he comes out and says, I want the fellow who pushed me in. And he is trying to find all sorts of reasons, all sorts of concepts, all sorts of words. That is the right word I will use. It is not even logic. It is just words. Please understand. Sometimes the word solution is not solution. Sometimes the word logic is not logical. He does not even have a reason. He just has words. Nothing other than words.
ಕಲ್ಪತರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿಯ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಎಂದರೇನು? ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಮನುಷ್ಯನಲ್ಲೂ ಸುಪ್ತವಾಗಿ ಅಡಗಿರುವ ಅಸಾಧಾರಣ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯವೇ ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಶಕ್ತಿ. ಒಬ್ಬ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಗುರುಗಳ ದೀಕ್ಷೆಯಿಂದ ಈ ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಶಕ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಜಾಗೃತಗೊಳಿಸಬಹುದು. ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಜಾಗೃತಗೊಂಡರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದ ಪ್ರತಿ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ತರುವ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಅದಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಹಾಗೂ ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ, ಸಂಪತ್ತು, ಯಶಸ್ಸು, ಸಂತೋಷಭರಿತ ಸಂಬಂಧಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕ ಜ್ಞಾನೋದಯವನ್ನು ತಂದುಕೊಡುತ್ತದೆ. ಧ್ಯಾನ ಹಾಗೂ ದೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳ ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಬಳಕೆಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕುಂಡಲಿನಿ ಜಾಗೃತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಇಳುಕು ನೋಟವನ್ನು ಕಲ್ಪತರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನುಭವಿಸಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನು ರೂಪಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರಾಂತ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಳ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಧ್ಯಾನಪೀಠ, ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ನಗರ, ಬಿಡದಿ, ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು.
I have a story. An engineer, a physicist, and a mathematician are staying in a hotel. The engineer wakes up and smells smoke. He goes out into the hallway and sees a fire. He fills a trash can from his room with water and closes the fire. He goes back to bed. Later, the physicist wakes up and smells smoke. He opens his door and sees a fire in the hallway. He walks down the hall to a fire hose, and after calculating the flame velocity, distance, water pressure, etc., extinguishes the fire with a minimum amount of water and energy needed. Later, the mathematician wakes up and smells smoke. He goes to the hall, sees the fire, and then the fire hose. He thinks for a moment and then exclaims, "Ah, a solution exists," and goes back to bed. Solution by mathematician is a word, not a solution. Sometimes the word is a word, not life. Here, Arjuna is also uttering words which are not life. See, if you thought about all these things, that destruction of dynasty, age-old family traditions, you should have just told the Kauravas, all right, you guys rule the country. We will be in the forest itself. We will develop our own life, our own place. That's it. You will go all out, have different vows, shouting, fighting, based on the identity which you yourself don't feel strongly, create all the mess. Finally, now, when you are in a mess, you think, oh God. You try to bring all possible logic, perverted reasons. I can say it's like a getting married without knowing the side effects and after effects. See, your identity is like a marriage only. When you try to create some identity which you are not, it is like a marriage. See, in the beginning, when you try to create an identity which you are not, it's like a romance. You project, see, who am I? What am I? Something more than what you are. It's a romance. Feels like you're bloated or you expanded. But the biggest problem is it becomes a permanent bondage. One day, a middle-aged man in the midnight woke up from his bed, came down to the hall, sitting and drinking a cup of coffee, just staring through the window. After an hour or so, wife wakes up and sees husband is not in the bed. She runs all over the house, finally sees husband sitting in the dining table in the hall, sipping cup of coffee, without sleeping, staring through the window. She goes and asks, honey, what happened? Why are you so sad? Why tears in your eyes? You are not feeling like sleeping? He says, do you remember 20 years ago we both were dating? She said, yes, I remember. One day your father caught both of us. He said, yes, that time you were a minor. Then he told me, either marry her or go to prison for 20 years. She says, yes, I remember. You know, I would have gotten out today. If I chose the other option, I would have gotten out today. Understand? Creating the identity which you are not and making even few people around you believe, even your family believes the identity which you are not as you, your prison has started. Your bondage has started. You will continuously make decisions based on that. Just because of your family pressure. See here, the big soup Arjuna is in. He created an identity that is a courageous warrior, which is not 100% true. I don't want to say 100% lie, maybe 30-40% true. But he has projected more than what he can, made his family believe. So naturally when his family believes, he has to constantly hold on with that identity, make all decisions based on that identity, naturally, which led him one by one led to the other, one led to the other, one led to the other. Now he's in a big soup. He's in a big mess. Now he's saying, virtue having been last, vice overtakes the entire race. I really don't understand. It is like bringing the logic which at least 100 times you would have thought and thrown out while you make some decisions. It is like you are climbing Kailash. Because you are climbing Kailash, you cannot carry much luggage. You throw away some of the things less important. But after going there, finally you realize you won't be able to climb anyhow. Then you start repenting, oh God, why did I throw this luggage, that luggage there itself? It is wrong. I should not be throwing. You should have taken the decision there, not now. Bringing the logic which you would have analyzed and found solution 100 times. Again, just because you are not going to proceed further. You are not able to proceed further. It's the most funniest thing. One guy goes to the cemetery, puts flower on his brother's tomb, pays respect for a few moments, and walks out. On the way he sees a mourner crying too profusely. This man was not able to control himself. He went to that mourner and said, sorry for interfering in your private grief, but I really want to know for whose sake you are crying so much. May I know so that I'll see, can I be of any help? The mourner took a moment to collect himself, then replied, actually he was rolling and crying, why should you have to die? Why should you have to die? Why did you die? And finally the mourner took a moment to collect himself, then replied, this is my wife's first husband. Sometimes the mourning statements are too late. See, now what Arjuna is talking is a mourning statement. It is not logical reasoning. Logical reasoning should have been done at least before assembling for a war. See, at least 2 days before, if Arjuna has taken this decision, went through all this logic, sat with Krishna and had an administration meeting, going through. See, these are all the logic, these are all the reason. I am feeling, Krishna, do you have any answer? Shall we think of other alternatives or other options? How do you like to face the whole thing? Do you have anything to tell me? Shall we have a meeting? Then it would have been a logic. When it is too late, the statements are only mourning. They don't make sense. In your life, many times, your logic is used at the time only mourning can be done, not anything else. Don't use your logic at the time you need to mourn. Don't mourn at the time you need to use your logic. Here, Arjuna is trying to use his logic, but because it is too late, it can only be mourning. It cannot be logic.
Because 2000 crore laws. I have decided that I myself going personally sitting in Pondicherry and going to do the relief work.
reach at least 1 lakh people per day.